I mean, art's been my life, my whole life. Like my mother is an artist. We had a creative household. I started drawing and painting as soon as I could write.
You are listening to the Artist King podcast. I am your host, DTM of DeltaTangoMike.com. The Artist King podcast features artists, entrepreneurs, and business coaches who share their knowledge, expertise, and resources to provide insight into the ways we can find our own personal success with our creative talents. Samara BARKS of Mixed Hues is a freelance illustrator, muralist, 3D artist, and mentor. Her art career has taken her all over from her hometown of Detroit to Pittsburgh, Miami, Houston, and East Austin. Her illustration and fine art styles mix exaggerated realism with a graffiti feel. She creates work featuring people of color, specifically Black people, in spaces that aren't likely to be seen or represented through her art. Samara launched Mixed Hues to fill the genuine need to see more Black people in the two communities she's passionate about, art and roller derby. Since then, it has branched out into so much more and has come to encompass all of her passions. Samara takes every opportunity to create the world she wants to see. Hello, Samara. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing, Dan?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Do you like going by Sam or Samara? What do people call you?
Most people just call me Sam.
Sam?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go with Sam. And I remember you saying that in person that time we saw you in Houston a long time ago. Oh my God, it feels like...
That was, that was a while ago.
Yeah. And you're still in Houston?
No, I'm in Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right. You find Texas to still be agreeable with you though, because
Somewhat, yeah. So far, so.
Well, I did notice that you posted a mural recently.
Mm-hmm.
That looked amazing. It looked like almost like a vector illustration. Um,
Yeah, most of my murals are more like hard edge, hard line, like
hmm
a lot of flat. It's very rare. I do like gradients and stuff with
hmm
my mural.
Very bold lines.
Yeah, bold
Love the
line,
bold line.
like my illustrative graphic style.
So tell us a little bit about you. You live in Austin. You
Mhm.
do some kind of art thing. Tell us a little bit about it.
I live in Austin, but I'm from Detroit originally. If anybody knows me, I've lived all over Houston, Miami, Pittsburgh. But I've been in Texas for the past 12 years now. That's
Mm,
crazy to say. Uh, I'm an illustrator, a muralist, traditional fine artist, and I also do technical 3D design, like
Mm-hmm.
photo 3D renders. 3D was my first, basically my career until I fell back and brought back more of my fine art and 2D illustration back into the mix.
Okay. So are you? So does that mean that you're a full time illustrator now,
Mhm.
or that's it, huh?
Yeah, I have been for the since 2016. I do work part time at a laser cutting studio because woodwork is a part of my work as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of different types of, of artwork. So I
Uh
started
huh.
doing woodwork back in 2015, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And the place that I was sending my work to initially just started, they needed a production assistant. And I was like, you know what? That would be a perfect place for me to work and get paid to do what I already was doing.
Uh
So,
huh.
and get full access to the studio on my
Mm.
free time. So, part time I work there. The rest of the time it's just me and my freelance work.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's a great job to have where you they pay you for working with them on things, and then there's
Mhm.
extra time where you just do what you want.
I experienced so much. So all the woodwork that you see, all the mixed media work with wood and
Uh huh.
acrylic and different stuff is a product of me being able to experiment at the studio and just
Mm-hmm.
play. So
Nice.
when I have downtime, I experiment with different materials and different art styles with mixing it with my style. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been there for about 5 years now.
Okay, very cool. And so now it's a lot of illustration work. You're still building stuff.
Mhm.
and this is your life. This is it. You're a working artist.
Mhm.
I know that you do like I want to say jewelry, but it's not so much jewelry, but accessories and things
Yeah,
with your
I started
artwork
doing.
on it.
Mhm.
It's it's insane. Uh, like it's insane in a good way because like I just printed my a calendar, right, and
Nice.
it's my artwork from my NFT series, and I tell artists like, look, drawing is cool. You may draw or paint, and that's great. And then we get into digital, and of course you're very familiar with all types of digital art,
Mhm.
and uh, and I tell artists, listen, the art doesn't have to just live in your hard drive.
Right.
Like put it somewhere.
Mhm.
Show it to the.
Yeah. That's why I started doing like working with mixed media and working with wood and stuff at the shop. I was like, wait, I could put my art on whatever I want to put it on. It doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
to stay 2D.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, right. And so then people can wear it in gear, accessories, and all kinds of ways. And there goes your art. I do stickers. I print stickers a lot, and I
Mhm.
send out free stickers. It's
Yeah.
like I just want it out there in the world. Somebody, please.
You started me on that sticker path. I was like, wait, wait. And I
Uh-huh.
invested in my own large scale format printer just so I could have full control, like over whatever I wanted to print. Like you
Mm-hmm.
definitely started the ball rolling because it did. That first little interview you did when you came to Houston, that legit just kickstarted like, oh, I can actually do this. Like I know people that are doing this. So
Uh-huh.
it definitely kickstarted my drive to see if I could do it.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about how'd you even get into the field of art? Is that something that you started when you were young, or were you grown up and you're like, you know what, I'm tired of whatever this other kind of job is?
I mean, art's been my life, my whole life. Like my mother is an artist. We had a creative household. I started drawing and painting as soon as I could write. And my like comic books and video games. I started like tracing comic books and
Mm-hmm.
drawing and making up my own video game characters. That's how that started way back
Mm-hmm.
when. And my mom she just let me have at it. She just gave me all the materials that I needed to just go at it. And I
Nice.
knew from a young age I was going to do something in art, didn't know
Uh-huh.
exactly what. And I was like, you know what? I want to do video games. So, of
Mm-hmm.
course, I went to college for 3D animation, computer animation.
Mm. Okay.
I went from Detroit to Pittsburgh, got 2 degrees in computer animation, media arts, and animation. And it was very hard to break into video games back then,
Mm.
super hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, what can I do with these degrees I have? And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm not wasting this money. I'm not wasting this time. So I switched. There was no way I was wasting that money and time. So I was like, I can do 3D. So I started in product design. So I was
Okay.
doing product design, and that turned into photoreal 3D renders, and that led to working in the oil and gas industry and doing like large projects for oil and gas companies and exhibit design. I was an exhibit designer in Houston for the 6 years that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I did stuff for the Houston Rodeo, for the Rockets, for the Texans. I've designed and built TV studios. Like they're set up for their after game shows. Like that Texans TV studio, I designed it and it was built in our fabrication studio. So
Wow.
doing 3D led to a whole gambit of things for my career as an artist. It wasn't just one thing. I've
Right.
done so many different things. But working for companies, you run into the issue of getting laid off. I got
Mm.
laid off twice in Houston.
Mm.
The first time I was like, it allowed me to pivot to another job. But the second time I was like, okay, now I either I try to do my own thing and see if I can be a independent working artist, or I keep getting hired at these companies that have the ability to just lay me off whenever they want to.
Mm-hmm.
So the second layoff came early 2016, 2015. And I was like, well, let's see what happens. So I
Mm-hmm.
struck out to see if I could make it as a working artist on my own. And I had
Mm-hmm.
so many examples of, yes, you can. And you were one of them.
All
Uh,
right.
like that, yeah, people are out here just doing whatever they want to do. It takes work, it takes hard work and time,
Mm-hmm.
but people can do it. And fast forward from 2015, and I'm still doing it.
Nice,
I still
nice.
can't believe people pay me to make this, make visual art. I'm like, people really pay me to make visual art. That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
feel lucky every day that I'm
Nice.
able to do that.
Yes, that's crazy, right? I think that's it's great to have that opportunity that people value the things that you're making to
Hmm.
want to go ahead and pay you for it,
Yep.
and one of the main things that I always push for is that try it out, but also be ready to give them a number.
Yep.
Yeah.
And still learning that, like still learning my value and still learning
Hmm.
like I've I've told you over the past couple years, like saying no to corporate projects that didn't feel like they valued my time
Hmm.
and my talent.
Hmm.
And that
Hmm.
hurts me, when you need money. Like
Right.
like
Yeah.
man, stuff
Hmm.
has been slow lately. I really could use this project, but you're like, if I take this project, what does that mean to the value of
Hmm.
my art and my skill?
Right. Yeah. And there's always going to be somebody who's going to take the
Oh yeah.
low pay,
Hmm.
and and you just um that it reinforces the idea behind these companies to go ahead and continue to lowball and pay
Hmm.
low. But the more we talk about this with the greater artist community, we eventually everyone everywhere they turn is gonna be
Hmm.
like, no, the minimum is
Right.
boom.
It's this.
Hmm.
This is
Hmm.
it. It's not like you're trying to take advantage of people, but you know the time that you put into what you do.
Hmm.
And like I said, as I've gotten older and the projects have gotten bigger, it's like, no, I don't have to take this. I can
Hmm.
wait. I can work a part-time job while I, work on my art. It's just
Hmm.
too many options to just keep lowballing yourself. Like you said, somebody will always take it, but it doesn't have to be me.
Right.
It doesn't have to be me.
Yes, yes. Artists like to say, "Well, I got somebody else who take lessons." Like, well, then why are you talking to me?
Or, they'll be like, oh, this should be easy for you to do. Well, why won't you do it?
Uh
Like,
huh. Right.
you can do it or you can find someone else to do it cheaper, but I'm not going to do it.
Right. Yes. Yes. It's no. It's great to know enough of your value. Also, that where you can um, say no and hold on to that, because after so many no's, you're gonna get a yes. There's
Yes,
gonna be a yes.
yes.
And oh my gosh, that's the best feeling in the world when they don't argue with you. They're like, okay, we'll get you a check today. You're like,
Right.
oh.
You send that invoice for a deposit and they pay it immediately. You're like, what?
Mm,
They didn't market that price? No? Okay. And I've
no.
more of my projects are like that. It's very rare that I get someone who's like, nah.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's we all have to eat. We all have to work. And
Hmm.
like I said, it's tough when I do have to say no to a project, and I'm just like, man. And then I hold out, and then something else comes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I didn't take that because I would have been stressed. I would have been tired. Like it's just some
Hmm.
projects that weren't worth me staying up,
Hmm.
24 hours to meet their short deadline for that little
Hmm.
bit of pay.
Right. So tell us a little bit about your art themes and mediums. You're working with wood. You are painting. You're doing murals. Tell us a little bit of what's all the different things that you work on.
Well, my traditional art is watercolors and inks. Like that's where my fine art lives. Like some of the stuff behind me on the wall is some of my watercolors. Um, that's where when I'm just putting traditional tools to traditional media. That's what I love to do. Um, I started doing public art right before the pandemic. Actually, my first large scale public art project was through the city. That's one of the reasons I'm still in Austin. Austin has huge resources for artists. There's so much work here.
Mm.
It, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of artists here, but it's also a lot of work. So I learned how to started learning how to spray in 2019 because brushing those large scale projects was just a beast.
Uh
I
huh.
was like, I saw my mentor Jay from Laced and Found. Jay and Ricky. It's a husband and wife team. He's been doing graffiti for 25 plus years. And I was at an event one summer. He was across from my booth. I was selling my art, and he was set up. They had all these artists doing 10 by 10s. Him and his wife rolled in late afternoon. They set up with like two crates of
Mm-hmm.
spray paint. He put up his doodle grid. I was like, "What is that?
Mm-hmm.
What is he doing?" I sat there and watched this man and his wife do a 10 by 10 in less than like it had to be like an hour or two.
Wow.
Wasn't much time. And he bust out the grid, sprayed up to his piece, and they were done. They were sitting there having drinks and talking to people. And I was like, I need to learn how to do that. And I had
Uh-huh.
just received notification I got my first public art project. So I walked over, introduced myself. I was like, "Can you teach me how to do that?" He was
Mm-hmm.
great. He was like, "Absolutely. Let me know where and when to be." He helped me spray my first public art project. It was 40 feet by 7 feet. We did that thing in like 3 days. We were done
What?
because he
Uh-huh.
taught me how to do the grid and spray. So, doing murals is just another way to stretch out my art skills. So,
Mm-hmm.
ink, watercolors, spray paint, the woodwork is new. Like I said, is the past 5 years working at the studio. Um, I do acrylic on birch wood or different kinds of wood, and I mix acrylic with it. I don't know if you've seen the series I've been doing with the mixtapes, like taking
Uh,
the
I, s-
mixtapes.
I see the record.
Yeah, I did
I
the
can.
LPs. Those are news of this past year, and
Oh,
I did
beautiful.
mixtapes. Like it's just been so cool to play with the things that
Uh-huh.
I like. I'm a '80s kid. Like I'm born into the so I grew up, fixing the tapes and like putting a little piece of tape on there and rewinding your tapes with a pencil. So
Right, right.
I think the mixing art was my favorite things that people call retro now.
Right, right, right. It's coming back around.
Right.
And I'm looking at the tapes. What?
So
That's an
yeah,
actual cassette tape?
yeah, I took a little cassette tape, took it apart to see how I wanted it to move because I wanted the spools to be able to turn. So I
Mm-hmm.
figured out a way to be able to move the spool so that the spools turn.
It's a
So
real tape.
yeah, it's a real tape.
Uh-huh.
So this was in this again, and being able to have access to the studio and just be able to tinker with little things and come up with little prototypes. I still have the first prototypes over there. Then I started making like this was the first prototype for that miniature boom box that I was doing.
Oh, snap. Right, right.
Yeah, I do little stuff like this in little scale to see if it's even feasible.
Uh-huh.
Can I paint pieces on this and I turn them into wall art? So that's
Wow.
something I've been experimenting with the past 2 3 years with the boom boxes and mixtapes, and I want to make a working actual wood boom box that's a piece of art that actually has working components. So I've been
Mm.
kind of like I'll just be messing with stuff like that. So my mixed media has been cool to take it off the paper and put it onto like 3 dimensional pieces that people can actually hang as big pieces in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
And since
Mm-hmm.
I've made them, every mixtape I've made has been collected.
Wow. Because I want some. It looks awesome.
Mhm.
That is insane. I'm looking at it, and it's because I actually have tapes. I don't play them as much, but I got a good collection of
I know
tapes, and then where I
you
find
got blow boxes and stuff, so
yes, and I got a few boom boxes,
yeah.
and it's just like you said, it's an '80s kid. I was
It's
born in the
nostalgic.
'70s. In the '80s,
Mhm.
I'm a teenager,
Yeah.
and that's what you collect. You want to collect music,
Mhm.
or the blanks, and then you're listening to the radio at night, and then boom, click
Mhm.
record.
Yeah. So what I call them is mixtape memories. It's nostalgic. So that's
Mm-hmm.
the reason I call mixtape memories because everybody used to make mixtapes. You used to give them to your
Mm-hmm.
crush. You used to make them just because you wanted your favorite songs, and you had to
Mm-hmm.
wait for the DJ to stop talking, so you press pause while the
Right.
commercial stuff came on. Like, yeah, it's a feeling of nostalgia, and I think that's why they did so well because people linked the nostalgia, but they also liked my artwork that was on that nostalgic piece.
Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna come back around to the mural. So
Mhm.
all those symbols on the wall
Mhm.
is that grid, doodle grid.
Yeah.
I don't know how I could even keep track. Like
So
that's some science right there.
No, it's like once Jay from Laced and Found actually told me, like once I saw him do it, I didn't understand why he just put all these glyphs. It could be
Mm-hmm.
whatever glyph, whatever doodle you want. It could just be squiggles and circles or whatever. So once you put that on the wall, you take a picture of the wall straight on as flat as possible. Take it into whatever editing software you use, Photoshop, Clip Studio, whatever. You overlay your line work on top of the doodle grid, turn the opacity down on your line work, and now you have all these points of reference on where
Mm.
the lines fall.
Mm.
So basically, it's better than the traditional box grid because it just gives you more points of reference.
Mm. Okay, right, right, right.
Yeah.
Got it. Oh, so if you're measuring the hips, you're measuring that thigh, the leg, to
So
the
it's like
thigh
you
to
go
the
from this
knee.
squiggle to that squiggle, through this squiggle, through that.
Oh.
So depending on what your grid is, it could be the alphabet. It could be like my last
Mm-hmm.
one. I use X's, the plus sign, triangles, and squares. So when I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at
PlayStation.
my, yeah, PlayStation basically. Yeah, I use PlayStation. So when I overlay my lines over it, I look and I'm like, okay, that line goes through this triangle above that X around that circle. So it just
Mm-hmm.
gives me way more points of reference than a straight box grid would ever give.
Mm-hmm.
Because even within the box grid, if in that box your proportions are off just a little bit, it's skewed. So the doodle
Mm-hmm.
grid just gives you way more reference to follow.
Interesting. We
And
just
it
got a
allows
master
you.
class. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so once he told me that, I was like, "Oh, for real? That's all you need to do?" Every mural, that's how I do it. Because I know a lot of people use projectors. What if you don't have power? You're not near electricity. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you don't need it. You if you have that kind of grid, it takes time to put the grid up, but it doesn't have to be that detailed. You can literally
Mm-hmm.
just put a few points here and there. It's as
Mm.
detailed as you want that grid to be.
Right.
I like a lot
Right.
of points of reference because I want my stuff to look exactly like I drew it.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Right.
I'm a stickler for that. And
Mm-hmm.
my mentor was like, it's just you don't have to be so strict with it. He was like, you're an artist. You can change it on the fly, which I've
Mm.
gotten a lot more eased with. Like I can change stuff on the fly. But yeah, after I learned that, it was over. I was like,
Mm.
if I don't have to use a projector, I will not for something huge. I will never use
Uh-huh.
it again. And
Yes.
brushing, I don't have to bring water cans. I don't have to bring all these different things of paint and brushes.
Yeah.
I just
Uh-huh.
like the last mural I did, I had one crate of spray cans. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I use stencils because again, I work at the laser studio. So I'll take
Mm.
chipboard for fine lines because I'm not as like I don't have can control like that for like when when stuff gets smaller, it's harder to spray
Mm-hmm.
detail. So stencils for that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
This is good. You got a system, you got a workflow.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's super awesome. Yeah, that allows you to move through different mediums and
Hmm.
get the same result, your art. The
Yeah.
way you want see it, the way you want it.
Hmm.
And like I'm looking at the earrings and all that woodwork. It's that little thin wood that you there's these kits that you buy with
Hmm.
things with that with to build things out of those little wood pieces.
Hmm.
And I have a couple of those.
Oh, like
Um,
the little scenes that you can build.
mm-hmm,
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I love those. I have one back there I haven't built yet. That's my next step of like tinkering with things. I want to do a flat pack scene where people can build a little scene that I made. That takes a lot of
Yes.
math and a lot of planning though.
Yeah.
But I love
Right.
those little dioramas. I love them.
Yeah, because that becomes now a sculpture of
Yep.
your work.
Hmm.
Whew, wow,
Yeah,
this is amazing.
working at that studio was probably the best decision I made, and I made
Mm-hmm.
it because like my own work was slow, and I was like, what am I going to do when I'm in the famine stage of
Mm-hmm.
freelance work, and my work is slowing down and projects aren't coming in as much? I was like, I still need income.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you taught me multiple streams of income. Gotta have it.
Yeah. No, that's
So
super. That's super great. That is really great. It's like me working at an art store. You
hmm
know, I'm around art. I'm around the things that I like, and
hmm
then I get a discount.
yeah,
And you
that was
know,
good. Yeah.
I'm I might spend all my check at the art store though. I'll be
Right,
like,
like what better way to fulfill your career than be in a if I'm gonna have a part-time job to supplement, why not
mhm,
have it be something that's creative, something that I enjoy, something that I'm like, oh, not like, oh, I gotta go to work. No,
mhm,
it's like it's a part-time job that actually this part-time job is probably better than any full-time creative job I've ever had.
mhm,
So
mhm,
and just the fact that they give us freedom to learn. Like they're like, no, we want you to learn because the more you learn on your own projects, the better it serves the studio.
mhm.
So
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. You become well versed in all
mhm,
the parts. So tell
yeah.
us about American History Volume Two. It sounds
Mhm.
like a album, a music album of some kind, and it looks like it has some music influences.
It's a group show being held, exhibition being held at Rich's Art Gallery. It's the only Black art gallery in Austin, and he just added an extension to his art gallery, Richard Samuel. Um, and it's a pretty dope spot. Like he has memberships at his gallery. He holds all kinds of events and poetry, and it's just a cool, dope space here in East Austin. And
Mm,
he gives space and voice to a lot of artists who might not get a chance to show in galleries around town.
mm-hmm.
So
Nice.
this is the second exhibition of the American History, Black History is American History exhibit, and it's
Mm-hmm.
running until March 28th, I think, or 26th.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I have four pieces in there, four of my mixed media LPs showing.
Uh-huh. And so those LPs, is that like a wood piece that you painted black, or is that an actual record?
Oh no, I made it to scale to size of a 12-inch LP. So it's birch wood that I engraved grooves in, just like a normal record would have them. Like you could put it on the record player. I don't know if you
Uh-huh.
see like my promotional images of it. They fit on actual record players. Can't play them, but yeah, I use acrylics on them, and I paint like super detailed small portraits on them for each artist
Mm-hmm.
portrayed. So the ones that are in the show are Nina Simone, Eartha Kitt, Marvin Gaye, and Jill Scott Heron.
Wow.
So each piece looks like it would be able to be played on an actual record player, and I made custom dust covers to go with each one for
Mm-hmm.
people to store them in and
Yeah.
display with the piece.
That's super cool. That's super cool. And I'm looking at the level of detail. I know we talked about digital art before.
Mhm.
And it's like you're moving through brushes, spray paint, uh, pens, markers,
Yep.
to do different scale of different sizes of your work. And so did you in school take like drawing classes, art classes that focused on a particular medium? Like how'd you get so good with so many different ways?
Well, in school we had like basic color theory. Like in school I went for computer animation. So we did have some traditional classes. We had life drawing, we had color theory, cell animation. Like I know how to do traditional, flip paper cell animation. Uh,
Mm,
but a lot of the stuff I picked up along the way, either from, other artists sharing what they know with me experimenting on my own things. But watercolors have pretty much, like I started with acrylics and didn't really like them as much. And then I started dabbling with watercolors when I lived in Miami in the early 2000s. And I was like,
mm,
this is it.
mm,
I taught myself how to do watercolors. Like they didn't teach us that in school. I
mm,
was on YouTube looking like, how do I do watercolors?
mm,
Like, so I picked that up and inks just kind of fell into after that. I love doing black and white and grayscale work. Uh,
mm,
and my watercolors is my more colorful stuff, but I still do. I love to live in black and white and grayscale ink color. But yeah, I kind of just pick up and experiment with stuff and see what works well with my style.
mm, No, it's very clean illustrative work. That's it. I mean, all of it is it has like a method to it.
Hmm.
and distinct and different art styles, depending on the medium,
Hmm.
is really awesome. It's really awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about where the name Mixed Hues comes from? What does it mean to you?
It comes from just me being able to do a variety of different things. So it's like, some artists are known for one particular thing they do. Like one of my friends, she does occult artwork. Her artwork is just this. Like I always felt bad as an artist that I didn't have this one thing that I was known for. But over the years, people have told me, yeah, I can tell your work from anyone else's work. I still don't feel that. I still
Mm-hmm.
feel like my style changes, like you said, depending on the medium that I use. But mixed hues came from that. It came from I did so many different things. Um, it was just like I couldn't have I don't have one thing. So, my art is roller skating art because I was a roller derby girl for so many years, and that's kind of what I focused on first. Come from that first like interview with you in Houston. You said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to be a working artist." What are you interested in? It's like right now I'm super into roller derby. You told me, well, that's your niche right there. That's where you start from. So that's where I started from. That was the first foray in showing and selling my art was all skate themed art because that's
Mm-hmm.
what I was doing at the time and that's what I wanted to show. And there weren't many influences of black art in that merchandise in the sport itself. There weren't many people of color being shown in our advertisement for the sport. So I was like, I
Mm-hmm.
want to make what I want to see. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to see us in the sport that I was so into. So that was just kind of the kickstart of like me putting my work out there and putting myself out there to see if anybody even wanted to see what I had. Like if
Yeah.
anybody was even interested in my art style or any of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
And so the answer is yes, right?
yeah.
People are interested.
Yeah, mixed views came from that. So it's like my skate art, my horror art, because I'm a huge horror fan. So you'll find aspects of like dark art, and that's where my inks come in. Or I love comic books and video games. You'll see that influence in my art.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like I had one particular theme in my work. Outside of the one particular theme is showing people of color, specifically Black people, in these places that we aren't normally seen.
Mm-hmm.
In horror, in roller derby, in skating, wherever I felt like we weren't seen in those worlds, that's kind of where I would put us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is the
That's
recurring theme across all my work, even though it's different themes and different media. Uh,
mm-hmm.
I think that is my recurring theme.
That's your mission. That and it looks like you're on it. You're on it. Yeah, that's great. No, that's really, really, really good. You're right. Is that you got to have a clear idea of what you want to say with your work, even and it can change. The message can change, and it will evolve, and the mediums can change, and then there's you go from like you said animation, comics, fan art, sci-fi, horror to the sports,
Mhm.
like and music is like whoa, you know. Whoa, you need some you need some interns. Do you even have interns?
No, I wish I could. I know. I get help from friends and other art
Uh-huh.
friends. We all help each other.
Uh-huh.
Like the murals is just a couple people we always jump on each other's murals. Like
Mm-hmm.
my friend Sade, she'll be like, "Hey, can you help me jump on this mural?" I'll be like, "No doubt." And if
Mm-hmm.
I have a project that's too big for me, hey, I need some help. Can you help me on this? Or any, it's just our art circles are pretty close and tight knit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even though it's a vast community of artists in Austin, after being here for 6 years, you get to know people, you get to see the same people, um,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to develop friendships and
Right.
community with those people.
Mm-hmm.
So I can say being in Texas, I didn't do much of that in Houston. I don't think I started to step into my stride until I got to Austin and actually started to fit in being a full time working artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
feel like for the first time, I'm a part of an art community. And just recently, Jay Muzak uh, and put out a book of local Austin art. It's mosaic artists, graffiti artists, muralists, fiber artists, and it's kind of chronicling from the old school OG graph writers all the way up to new people like me who are not from Austin. I didn't think I would ever be included in that book, but it's
Mm-hmm.
called Urban Art, and it's a big hardcover table book that just is chock full of Austin street art scene. And I was blown away that they even like I got a little 2 pages in there. I was like, I'm new. What do I know about, to be in this book with OGs that have been here
Uh-huh.
since the 80s, like putting up art in the street. But
Uh-huh.
I was like, I am a part of Austin street art now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Wow.
cool, though, like to be able to say I'm a part of Austin's art scene now.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. That's great. That's really awesome to see your work have a mission and an impact that is
Hmm.
actually happening. A lot of us get stuck, and there's many periods in our lives where you're without direction. That happened to me, and you're kind of lost. You're kind of just doing stuff because that's what the market demands. I was a working tattoo artist for a long time, and it's
Hmm.
like you kind of don't have a voice. I let that happen. It's my fault, but you don't have a voice. It's whoever walks through that door and whatever they ask for, and then that's what you do. And you start to feel like just a machine. I'm just a machine,
Hmm.
and you feel like you're not doing anything with your art. And it took me a long time to get to the second stage of my art career where I feel like I have a mission, I have a statement to make, and I want people to feel a particular kind of way when they see my art.
Hmm.
And I think it's great to hear you tell about yours and then see it, and it's like, yeah, I can see that happening. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a cool journey so far.
Hmm.
To
Yeah, and
see,
so where.
yeah, to see like coming from not knowing what I wanted to do to like that first like interview you had, and like, yeah, I want to do this, and then seeing all these years later that I'm actually doing
Mm. We're
it.
gonna link the interview, the first interview for the Artist King podcast from many years ago. We'll link it in the description of this video so
That's crazy.
everybody
That's,
can.
that's gonna look crazy.
Yeah, with all the car horns and cars
Uh-huh.
driving by. It was outdoors.
He was outside of the cafe somewhere.
Yeah.
I think Craig C was with me that day. You did
Hmm.
Craig C.
Yeah, he was with us. Uh huh. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's blown up.
And
He's blown up too since then.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is on a mission, like nonstop,
Hmm.
like the Terminator, just boom, boom, boom,
It's
step
cool to
after
see.
step.
It's cool to see that, like us,
Mm-hmm.
like where we started from in Houston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and see your growth and travels, and your art expands and grows. That's really great. That's really awesome. If you could go back in time,
Hmm.
the present Sam, go back in time to talk to the Sam that I talked to in front outside that cafe when we did the interview, and you had a piece of art life advice, what would you share?
Mm, I would say to not worry so much. To
Mm,
not worry so much that things will come and things will go, but to keep focused on what I want to do with my art, what I want to say with my art, and not be so worried about how it will be received by others.
mm,
That
mm-hmm,
there will be an audience, you will find an audience, you will find uh, the community that will embrace what you do.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Nice. That's right. That's right. You will find the audience. That's great. Great wise words. Um, what's next for you? What is on your what's on your horizon as an artist and as in mediums?
I just got two large public art projects through the city. They both have just kicked off simultaneously. I have
Hmm.
actually had a kickoff meeting on Wednesday. One is a group project and one is solo by myself. And these two are the largest build projects I will have worked on to date. So
Wow.
they are permanent parks projects. So Austin has been renovating all the parks across the city. They had a big corridor project, and I've been applying to these parks projects and corridor projects, hoping to get one. They're 20
Hmm.
plus year projects, so basically
Oh.
permanent installs. So what I've
Oh.
been doing lately is the other public art projects were 2D tempo projects. So they'll stay up for a year or 2 years, and then you buff them out, and another artist puts
Hmm.
something up. Um, so these are going to be permanent installs. The parks are under construction right now. One is literally up the block from my house, which is so cool because the community, along with different jurors, voted on my work, and they loved what they saw in my portfolio and the fact that I used that park. I live in the neighborhood,
Hmm.
so that was because I get that got to they sent me some of the feedback as to why people chose my work for that park, and that's
Hmm.
the solo project I have. And then the other group project is in the old neighborhood I used to live in. So that's even bigger project than the single project I have right now. So I'm gearing up for those two and trying to we have to do community outreach and see what the community wants to see, um, what they're interested in having in the parks that they frequent. So those two things, of course, my own work that I always do my own murals and freelance work.
Hmm.
Working at the studio, I have a couple conventions this summer. Classic Game Fest, of course, because I have to take my classic mixtapes and boom boxes and
Uh huh.
new pieces that I'm coming up with. It's very retro. It's all like people that are into the old school games, and they set up arcades there. What else am I going to do? Blue Genie is a market that I do every holiday season, but Blue Genie also has a May market coming up that I just
Hmm.
got accepted to. So that has also helped me like grow my audience, just having my work there every year.
Hmm.
For the past 5 years, people be like, "Hey, I saw your work at Blue Genie. I love it. I've gotten this, this, and this from you." So yeah, January was started off kind of slow, and I usually try to keep January for rest.
Uh-huh.
And by the end of January, my schedule was already like, "Hey, you have to start doing things now."
2023 is knocking down your door.
I know. I was just chilling. Like the first week of January, I was like, "Oh, I can rest," because Blue
Uh,
Genie is literally from September until the end of December, basically. So you
mm-hmm.
start. They let us know we get in the show in September. You have
Mm-hmm.
September, October to create whatever art you're going to make, and then it runs from mid-November until Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm usually like the last part of the year is a blur of just project
Uh-huh.
and work. And then I take January to rest. But like I said, January came in like, you got this week or two, but now it's time to get back to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm I try to keep my life where it's not so stressed. And I'm thankful I can say yes or no to projects because of the other
Mm-hmm.
large scale projects I get, like the city projects,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to work at the shop and have a flexible schedule and
Mm-hmm.
not burn out. Like that's the other thing I would tell old me. Money comes and goes, projects come and go, but you need to rest.
Yeah.
You
Right.
need to rest. We are not machines. And
Yeah.
since it's me only doing this, like you said, I wish I could have interns. But yeah, not just to not burn myself out and not take on
Mm-hmm.
too much. And I know we all
Mm-hmm.
do it. We all have like 15 projects going on at once.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to have a controlled set of projects per month this year. So we'll see how that goes with these city projects. The city
That's
works
awesome.
different.
Yeah. Well, I thought you was gonna say a couple of things. I'm just doing this and doing that. Like, no, you
I
got.
have a full schedule pretty much planned for at least up into the fall.
Mm-hmm.
The city project, the park project I have by myself, they want installed by the end of December. So
Uh,
that is a full go. I,
mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
have to get on that and get that going. But yeah, I
Nice.
I I believe I am a working artist now.
There you go. That's right. That's right. That's right. The moment someone hands you cash for something,
Yeah.
boom, for some art, any piece of art, bam, there it is.
Yep.
Working artist. That's right. Awesome. Oh, this is great. Great. Thank you for sharing your Mixed Hues journey with us.
Thank you.
It is great to hear from you and see you.
Yeah, I need to come through Atlanta again. I haven't been there in a while.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'll give you a tour of my office. Oh my gosh.
I can just imagine. I see all your screens and all the toys
Uh-huh.
and the supplies. Man, you got the playground over there.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And and I imagine like your place has all the tools and all the materials for
Oh, they're
doing
over
some of the things. There you go. Look, look. Yes, there it is.
here.
Yes. Yes. Because you need those things to produce the work you're working on.
Yeah, that
So,
whole table behind me is like a workstation. Like this is my little work area over here.
mhm,
Like this is my drawing table, all my
mhm,
art supplies up there, and then my office is in the back where I have all the computers, my
mhm,
printers, my
mhm,
heat press. Like all the heavy equipment is in the office in the back.
mhm. Heat press. Oh my gosh. Like
Look at those.
so yes, we will find one of these days, find a break to hang out and draw something.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing with us today. I appreciate you. We're going to share all the links on the description of the video, including the link to the podcast we recorded many, many years ago. I know I'm gonna dig it up. I'm gonna be surprised like what year that was. Like, whoa.
I want to say it was 2014. It had to be somewhere around there,
Mm-hmm.
probably.
Okay. Well, your memory is better than mine because I can't.
Maybe. I know it was somewhere around there.
It was the last decade.
Anyway.
All right. Well, we will talk to you soon.
All right, Dan.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. See you later.
The Artist King podcast is made possible by the support of our sponsors, Azalea Creative Group, Sketchable Plus, and Visual Artworks. Once again, I am DTM, and I look forward to sharing the business of art with you. Until next time, stay creative.